Tampa Bay Bucks and the Atlanta Falcons. This is 1.5 all the way to 2.5, which is interesting out there right now in favor of the Falcons at home against the Bucks. 40.5 to 41 is your total. Steven, it's your turn this time to lead us off here with this one.
So then I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got Chris Godwin's wife taking to social media saying they don't know how to use her husband properly, and he has to come in and clean up the mess and all the stuff that's going on with that. And you got a Bucs team that we said they're going to be as good as their health takes them. Their health turned against them. It took longer than I thought, but their health turned against them. They're missing 4 or 5 starters on the defensive side of the ball, and that's why they find themselves as dogs to a Falcons team that's not any good either. They're terrible too, but it's a Falcons team that can almost take a stranglehold on the division with a win this week. What do you see in this one?
Did you say that the defenses are pretty banged up in this game? Like
yeah.
Both of them? That has me very interested in the over. I was already interested in the over before we had so many bodies on both sides here defensively, looking like they're either going to have to play really banged up or not play at all. First meeting between these two teams, only 29 points, but you have to look deeper than that. 1 for 7 combined in the red zone. Atlanta specifically 1 for 5 in the red zone, which I think is maybe why Eli Hershkovich on our sister show, Beat the Closing Number, is betting Atlanta just to win this game. I think he got -1.5. So you can go listen to that if you want to hear his reasons why. I opted for the over because I think there's some potential red zone regression here. It wasn't just that Atlanta went 1 for 5 in the red zone. It's that both teams combined for 4 turnovers in the game in scoring position, including 2 for the Falcons at the 1-yard line. I mean, that is horrible scoring luck. Overall, 6.3 yards per play in the first meeting against a much healthier Tampa defense, and Tampa's offense, 5.1 yards per play, about league average, pretty respectable. So this to me is kind of a similar cap of what I talked about with Indy, Tennessee last week, which sailed over even if you take away the block punts. I just think there's a lot of positive regression potential here in a game where we don't have to worry about weather, indoors in a dome, and a pretty low number here at 40.5. I'm not scared off about how Atlanta looked against a very good Jets defense last week.
Yeah, I would be on the regression train, Adam, if it wasn't Arthur Smith who's calling the plays and he's a dope. So like, that's my only problem with all of that is like if there was the assumption of rational coaching, then sure, I could kind of get on with that. The problem is Arthur Smith like thinks he's the smartest guy in the room at the most inopportune times. And it basically continues to crush this team. Bijan Robinson's reception props only at 2.5. I think like he's beginning to get used a whole lot more in the pass game. I think that's at least somewhat interesting for me, but I don't have a firm grasp on how I would go about playing this. What say you?
Talking about those Tampa defensive injuries, so we know that Jamel Dean is going to be out of this game. We know that Vita Vea is a question mark at this point, and that is the question mark I want the answer to, because we know that Arthur Smith, as you just mentioned, and Atlanta love to run the ball in inefficient ways. And if any one player on the Tampa Bay defense will make the decision as to whether or not you're able to run the ball, it is Vita Vea for Tampa. So I already like Tampa as a teaser leg out to 8.5 in wherever spot you can get it, or 8. I continue to believe that the Atlanta Falcons suck and suck hard. I continue to believe that they are not capable of beating anybody by multiple scores. And I still think that Baker Mayfield is an order of measure better than whoever you're going to play at quarterback, which is going to be Desmond Ridder. But Desmond Ridder is the biggest part of why the Falcons suck and suck hard. And so I don't believe that that's going to change no matter who's in or who's out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like Tampa as a teaser leg.
It's going to be an interesting game. I cannot believe I can't believe the Falcons might host a playoff game. I mean, can we
take a moment and talk about that like we have a schedule of 17 games and only 6 of those are in division, but we're automatically going to give a home playoff game to the 4 seed. Like, can we stop with this and just go with best record regardless of division? That would actually make sense.
Yes, they need to just seed. However, yes, according to wins and losses, whatever. Like, this is insanity. Like, this is the Falcons might host. This might host a playoff.
It's
game.
not
Like,
30 years ago where 8 of your 16 games were in the division. Like, it's not.
Our
that
philosophical podcast runs on Mondays. Next game.
If anyone's wondering if someone has anywhere to be, yes, we are.
You think?
As we
No one needs to hear a rant about divisions. Divisions are an antiquated concept. Next.